you are not paid to be an expert. You are paid to solve a problem. And thinking that you need to be an expert to sell is it's one of the cornerstones that keeps someone broke. I used to think the same. There's a lot of broke, brilliant people out there. It has nothing to do with being an expert. It has everything to do with knowing with ridiculous clarity the problem you solve and being able to explain it better than everybody else.
So you have a passion for fitness and the desire to start your own business. But launching a massively successful fitness business is extremely complex. The systems, operations, hiring, firing, coaching, sales, and marketing are critical to success. Where do you even start? This show will give you the answers. Here is Bedros Keuilian and Bryce Henson, your hosts of the Fitness Franchise Podcast, a show dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs launch and grow successful gyms.
Welcome back, friends, to another incredible episode. And before we get into today's content, and so we can help spread this message and help more people, please go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube and write us an all-star review on iTunes so we can keep providing you this content for free. So now to the show, and for today's guest, who is a marketing expert and has an incredible rap sheet. So here we go. Now, for 2 years, Steve J. Larsen was the lead funnel builder at ClickFunnels for Russell Brunson, making a name for himself in the internet marketing world. Now, eventually, Steve left to start his own company, and just 13 months later, he went on to score his own 2 Comma Club award when his business crossed the $1 million mark. And 7 months later, he then earned his next million, followed by another million in just 1 day. Now, he has 4 highly successful podcasts, include Sales Funnel Radio and Launch for Profit, which teach the finer points of marketing, offer creation, and most importantly, internet cash flow strategies. Now, Steve is passionate about improving the economic confidence of entrepreneurs through capitalism, and him and his team do their part by helping entrepreneurs design and launch wildly lucrative offers online. Steve Larsen, my friend, welcome to the show. Super pumped to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh, well, great. Well, a lot to cover today. And before we do, I would love for you to share your backstory with our audience.
Yeah, so, it's so funny. I was on a stage and they're like, I have so many origin stories. I'm like, yeah, really all of us, we have 1,000 backstories, But the one that everyone knows me for, though, was I was broke in college and I couldn't feed my ex-wife. It's not that we were starving, but it was really tight. It's crazy how broke we were. I started learning how to go sell stuff, and every one of my ideas had to do with the internet. I ended up working for Russell Brunson, which is crazy and was never part of my plan, but I was blessed to go sit next to him, and we're still crazy good friends. I worked for him for 2 years and sat literally next to him in the same room for those 2 years. And we built a lot of funnels. And, it was the point where ClickFunnels, right before they hit their big hockey stick growth. And so I got a really unique viewpoint on how different strategies they did to grow that software so fast. It's also a very entrepreneurial environment, though. So after a while, I was like, dude, I have to go on my own. As cool as this is, and as shocking as I was to most people, I needed to leave. And so I decided, since I'm a marketer, how can I leave in the most dramatic way possible? So I left on purpose without a product, without a funnel, without any revenue, so I could document my exit, because I thought that'd just be sick. So it was so stressful, man. I do not recommend anyone who's watching or listening to this now to do that, but it was only because I was very, versed in internet sales already by that point. So I ended up leaving, and it's gone really well. It's been 3.5 years. We built our own big studio and event center, and it's been awesome. Been a really fun journey.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to dive in. I know Pursuit of Profit is the name of the company you started, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that, but let's face it, at least, Steve, how I first met you was because of a ClickFunnels subscriber. I've reading all the content. I've been in this world from afar for a while, ended up reading Traffic Secrets, which we were just talking offline. I think I've read that book 15 times when Russell talks about you, attending one of the conferences and, you being so resistant to basically starting your own show or publication, and then you did. So if you could just kind of storytell a little bit about, that specifically, and just want to, hear a little bit more about, your role in ClickFunnels.
It's not that I didn't think publishing and consistently telling your stories and all that stuff was not correct. It was more that when I was in high school, dude, I was so shy. I don't know if it was shy. I was just not confident. I was very quiet. I actually had a legitimate fear of adults. And I would see an adult down the hall and I actually would walk the other way. I don't know what it was. It's weird childhood crap there. And so I felt really unqualified. Like, I can't get on a podcast. I can't get on. There's no way. And we've done 14 events now in 3 years. I mean, I do a lot of events. There's no way I'd be doing any of that. And one of the reasons I feel such affinity for it, publishing, is because it taught me my own voice. So the first time I ever heard Russell say, you got to start publishing, I was in the Army. I was becoming an officer, and I was in college still. And we were doing these sprints, just sprints around the track, and just death sprints, just so many sprints. And it was back in the days when Periscope existed. And so I went and I saw Russell, chirping, whatever, like, hey, Russell's Periscope. So I pulled it up, and he's always like, I'm going to change all of your lives. All of you publish every single day for the rest of your life. And I was like, screw that. Click. Just like, there's no way I'm doing that. That is no. And so went back to sprinting. That was, funny enough, less painful. So when I got hired there, which surprised me, that was straight miracle. But when I got hired there, it was like, I was watching him. And at that point already, even then, there's probably 15,000 users of ClickFunnels at that time. So, I mean, it's not that they weren't unproven, but it was not this massive hockey stick thing that happened later. But even then, it was like $100 million, still a $100 million company already by that point, And so I sit down next to him, and like, I'm his funnel guy, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm building these funnels, and I'm like, what is he doing while I'm building the funnels? And he's there promoting, and he's doing podcasting, and he's doing all the stuff that he's been telling everyone else to do. He practices what he preaches. And after a while, I was like, I gotta try this. So I started my first podcast show probably about 4 months in, and it was so freaking scary to me that I wrote every episode. You can hear me reading because I am. Like, the first 20 episodes of that show, the content is good, the delivery is garbage. It's like, but I'm not gonna delete him. One day I walked into Russell's office and he goes, how you doing? I was like, good. I just listened to this podcast from somebody else, and they said you should go delete your worst performing content. So like, have you ever listened to the first 20 episodes of your podcast, man? And Russell looks at me and goes, yeah, dude, don't ever do that. It's terrible. I said, I think I'm going to delete it. And he's not a confrontational dude unless you wrestle him. And he looks right at me and he goes, no, like yells. And I was like, whoa, like, this is not normal behavior for Russell Brunson. And I was going to my desk, which is next to his, and he slapped his desk and he goes, no, that's how they knew you were human once. And I was like, oh, super key moment. And so all the crappy content I've always left up as well. But that right there did multiple things. First, it taught me my own voice. And then the second was it started bringing to me an audience. And in that order. And I didn't realize the power of publishing, what it would be for my voice or for what kind of impact it will have in the future.
Wow, that's powerful. And Steve, I've looked at some of my content from back in the day because I'm a fitness guy, fitness coach, and it's like I cringe at that. But to your point, when clients actually see that, considering how far we've came our organization in terms of training sessions, it's actually like very, very valuable. So I can see where he'd say that.
Totally. Yeah. And he's like, imagine if he started podcasting now, like we just wouldn't believe him. We wouldn't believe, like, yeah, well, of course you can say it. Look how big you are. So when people are like, oh, I can't publish yet, or I've got my fitness thing, I'm not big enough, I don't qualify. It's actually the prime spot to begin publishing because you're more believable than some pristine. I mean, we actually have to make our Facebook ads look less professional now. You know what I mean? If it's too pro, no one believes you. It's the same thing with everything else. We like do our stuff just on an iPhone, even though we got a sweet studio. It's interesting. You're way more believable. Yeah. So
talk about a little bit about the culture of ClickFunnels. I mean, what was it like working there? Like, I can't imagine you shared a couple of clippets there, but I just want to kind of, being that it's so massive and of course, it provides you a good platform. Just want to kind of get some insight to our audience of, the inner workings and the culture of ClickFunnels.
Yeah, most people say things like, oh, I would have loved, working there. The reality is I don't think most could handle it. It's extremely intense. Amazing, but it's intense. I always had probably 6 or 7 funnels to build on my plate all the time. And I created the first 2 Comic Book coaching program, the program, the layout and all that stuff. And so I became a coach. So I coached like crazy, and then I'd be building funnels. It was just, I drank it. I still do. I was building a funnel before you and I got on. The culture though is very, It's awesome because if you are willing to be good, you tend to get recognized, and sometimes that's hard to do in other organizations. If you're going to get good, sometimes you don't get the credit for it. So it's cool. It's like, what can you do? We don't really care about your past. What can you do now, right? And so it's let's not rest on our laurels. So, just like any environment, there's memories that were really good, and there's memories that are also really painful where, I dropped the ball, or someone else on the team did, or our launch didn't go well because of one key piece, I learned a lot about team structure and organization there. And before I left, Russell asked me to help build the internal funnel building system there, because there was no funnel building team. It was just he and I. There wasn't, I remember when we hired a copywriter, dude, that changed my life. When we hired a designer, I was doing so it was, I learned a lot about team structure and the process that really results in success with these internet sales funnels and internet sales in general. That was big because I had seen when it was just Russell and I, and then bringing in people and making a system that runs it all, and then all the tweaking. And so it was a fun environment, but it was, what I really appreciated about the environment was that if you were not the smartest or richest, you better be very clear on the advice you're giving. Does that make sense? Like, imagine if we listened to the people in the room that were the richest. And if someone could speak well but were broke, we'd be like, wait, show us your scorecard. Where's that coming from? You know what I mean? And what I really like about ClickFunnels is that it really adhered to that kind of mentality. It's like, if you're not rich, shut up. And I appreciate that, and it was like a little bit more, and Russell's that way. He's not a jerk about it at all, but like, he's like, well, we're going to do it my way because I've been doing it a while, and here's 15,000 reasons I funnel hacked last night. What were you saying we should do about copy? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I better know my crap. I like that a lot.
So about what year was this? Because it blows my mind that you're talking about like hiring a copywriter for like the organization of ClickFunnels. What time frame are we talking about?
I've been gone from ClickFunnels 3.5 years already. So this was 2016 to 18.
Okay. And actually, this is right where I kind of came into your world and started seeing, a lot of the content that not only Russell, but also you pushed out as well.
Yeah.
What would you say being a lead funnel builder, and of course, like the claim to fame of ClickFunnels is be able to create awesome squeeze pages, landing pages, funnels by the click of the mouse, very easy, user-friendly. But that all said, certainly some of the funnels are just immaculate. So what would you say is the biggest skill set that you needed to execute that position?
Dude, people ask this a lot, man. It's like, it's so interesting what trips people up in this, because I ran into it myself, so I don't blame anybody, by the way. But just brief story with this. Okay, so I was very good at building funnels before I got hired at ClickFunnels, and I had all these side clients in the middle of my marketing classes, and I was not out of college yet, and I knew that the degree I was getting was a dime a dozen. There was going to be no tactical skill set. I could see that like my sophomore year, and it freaked me out, which is why I decided to get good at funnel building. And so I built funnels quite a bit. And first, ClickFunnels didn't even exist, and it's really hard to build them. So I saw ClickFunnels, and I was like, man, what was that?
Were you building on WordPress, or what were you doing prior to?
Some WordPress stuff. Honestly, GetResponse, email, their email autoresponder, they had like a little squeeze page builder. I had not known that funnels is what it was called. I just was drawing them, and anyway, so I'm building these funnels, and I remember I had the first big success for a client, and I was like, this is awesome. It was massively validating. Frankly, I think it was the story that got me the job at ClickFunnels. And I get there, and just like, think about this. I was, this is so huge, and people really misplace value on funnels. This is what I mean. So I'm in there, I'm literally sitting this far away from him, and my monitors like reflect off of his face. So it feels like his monitor, he was sitting back to back. So it's like he was looking at me all day long, and I just had imposter syndrome to the nines. And I was like, crap, I don't know if I'm good enough. And I was cranking so hard every day, just trying to like be an output machine, which I was. And so Russell has an idea. And this is the signal that Russell has a good idea. And he stands up and he runs barefoot shorts over to a whiteboard, and we just start drawing stuff. And he goes, Steve, remember that funnel you built like 3 days ago? And it's about that second page, the third column. I was like, oh yeah, I got it. He's like, cool. I want that one there, and then this piece right here, and we're gonna have a follow-up sequence that says X, Y, and Z, and this. And then it sounds to everyone else, they called it grunting. And I was like, he always is like, dude, I missed the grunt. You're the only person who can speak grunt. But what would you do if you had just become a funnel builder for the dude that popularized and kind of invented the concept of funnels? What would you do in the evening? You build the same funnel. I mean, you are seeing the guy and you're building it yourself. So what did I do? So in the evenings, I started building the same funnel. Obviously, the offer was different. Obviously, I wasn't copying it, of course, but I was like, man, if
you were funnel hacking.
Yeah, from the dude, right from the horse, like right from the horse's mouth. I cannot tell you the insane embarrassment I felt that I could not get a funnel to work on my own for probably the first 6 months. Massively embarrassing. But really, I had no idea why it was not happening either.
Okay.
And so when people say it's like, oh, it's all about the funnel. No. It took me forever. I don't know why I had to go through that pain, but it took me like 6 months to get one to work on my own. That's very embarrassing to be the funnel builder at ClickFunnels and have that happen. And so just to be vulnerable and tell you, like, that's exactly what happened. And so I don't know why it took me so long to just like lift my head and look left and see what he was doing while I was building the funnel, because that activity is what actually was making the money, not funnel building.
Which is
funnel
what?
Building is not marketing.
But what activity then? Publishing,
right?
creating
That's
content.
the big key I want everyone to hear. First off, though, funnel building is not marketing at all. All a funnel is an automated offer and message. And if you have a sucky offer and a sucky message, your funnel will suck. That's what it comes down to. And so if someone's like, oh, I got to have this amazing professional funnel, that's garbage. All you need is a sweet funnel that has a good offer and a good message, which is why funnels existed before ClickFunnels did. Like when I was a door-to-door guy, I was the funnel. I had a message and I had an offer. I just was the delivery, hey, how's it going, of those two things. And so people misplace and misvalue funnels because they think it's this mystical crap, when really it's just the automation of two things. And depending on how good those are, that's how the funnel performs. What Russell was doing was the actual marketing piece. So think of it in these two tenses. An entrepreneur's job is to find and solve a valuable problem, right? And fitness world, right? I mean, you guys do. It's like, I'm going to find a problem, I'm going to solve it, I'm going to make an offer and a message. Like, that's very entrepreneur. But there's a lot of people that have done that and are broke. The activity that makes the money is everything pre-funnel. Think of it like a funnel is like a catcher's mitt. Someone's supposed to throw the ball, though, right? I think of it this way also. Campaigns create cash, funnels just collect it. And so what we want to spend our time doing, if someone has not made a lot of money, they need to stop looking at the funnel, just get it out the door, good enough, whatever, because the thing that actually makes the money for them is this marketing activity. It's all about campaigns. It's about attention. It's sales-based attention. That's all you're trying to get. And that's harder than entrepreneurship. And that's where the role of marketing is super different than the role of entrepreneurship. And that right there is the reason why most of the time I don't build my own funnels anymore, because it's not the moneymaker. It's all about how much noise and sales-based attention can I draw to the first page of the funnel. And that's where all the money comes in, which is why, since I'm not a designer and I'm not even really an amazing copywriter, I'm good enough and I'm okay at video editing. But that's why I could be the one-stop shop for funnel building, and he could just go make a lot of attention. All right, it's like, and it still would work really, really well. And he'd poop out another $1 million in 3 weeks.
That is crazy. Mind blown here. I'm going to have to rewind this tape because you just threw some major nuggets, which are impressive.
People just misplace funnels a lot, and I did too until I saw it firsthand. And I was like, this is the thing that makes the money. Not that. I'm not saying don't use a funnel, but like, it's not this like black box magic thing.
So you talked about the activity, right? So can you give us, and granted, you talked about Russell, shooting podcasts. Can you give us some ideas, or just, the audience, some insights to what that activity would be?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. So let's say, so actually just my own example here. So we've done a lot of events, and so I build an event funnel, right? And the funnel sells tickets and upsells them VIP, and then says, hey, do you want extra swag, and whatever. What most people do, we have to reframe what a lot of people think marketing and campaigns are, right? Funnel building is not marketing, and Facebook ads are not campaigns. My favorite thing to go do is to look at rich dead guys, right? What are the rich dead marketers, the guys who didn't have the internet but made millions of dollars? What did they understand? Because they didn't have funnels, they didn't have any of this stuff, but they made millions of dollars back when that was a lot of money, right? Right. And it's like, geez, like what did they do? One of my favorite guys to watch is, and I'll tell you how we use this, is P.T. Barnum. I love P.T. Barnum. The movie Greatest Showman was about him. A lot of it was made up, but still a good movie. And P.T. Barnum was a master at creating orchestrated attention. It's just like this orchestrated noise. And he'd be like, hey, public, I got this thing coming up. And by the way, influencer, here it is coming up. Same date, time, and location. By the way, massive other companies, date, time, location, all about this thing. And it was the way he would weave them together towards the equivalent of the first page of the funnel, and that's how we'd make the money. So we do something similar. It's a mistake when someone thinks that a Facebook ad is what a campaign is. That's just a way to do it. All right. It's a mistake to think that sending an email to a list is a campaign. That's a method. All right. And so what we do is we just take a step back and say, what are all the crazy, noisy things we could do that would draw attention towards the first page of the funnel and give people a reason to pull their wallet out? That has very little to do with the funnel, and it's a more uncomfortable skill set than the entrepreneur game. So like for my events, we did the biggest one, we had 16 campaigns to a single event. One of them was ads to the funnel. One of them was emails. I made up 14 other just crazy campaigns, and they were the more successful ones. And so I contend a lot that we just have lazy marketing, and it's not due to the person's fault. It's just the internet has such easy distribution that we've thought we don't need to have these old school campaign styles, when in reality, they're the ones that actually make the most money.
So on that note, Facebook ad would be a campaign, one campaign, email list would be another campaign. You said that you used about 13 others. Can you give maybe one or two examples that has really worked for you for a campaign setting to obviously promote and fill your events?
Yeah, totally. So some of the other cool ones that we did, and we just keep rinsing and repeating the ones that worked, so I got a bucket of just campaigns that worked, and I think of them like football plays. And I'm like, oh, that funnel didn't work as well as I wanted. This one, let's launch that one. That's kind of how I think of it. Going to previous buyers and giving them, hey, it's going to be $100 off on your ticket if you use it by this amount of time. All right, no ads involved. I'm not anti-ad. I just anti them. Albert Lasker said that if your funnel doesn't work without ads, it's definitely not going to work with ads. It's not about the ad. Anyway, so another great one that we did was that particular event. We had like 650 people come to it live. It was a big event. We had, was it up in Boise? Yeah, that was a fun one. I really enjoyed that one. Another fun one is I went back to the previous year's attendees and I said, hey, alumni, got a breakfast for you on me, morning of day 2, if you go get your ticket now. Just clever things like that, that really pulled a lot of people in. I knew I wanted some more of Russell Brunson's audience to attend. And so when he was doing a big promotion, and so I said, I'm going to be one of the top affiliates. And by the way, if you get this product through me, I will give you I'll credit that same amount towards your ticket toward this thing. So I grabbed noise and rolled it into my event. That actually got a lot of people really quickly. Just a lot of things like that. And when you kind of widen what a campaign means, everyone who's listening or watching now, you guys can all just start thinking, oh, that's how we do it. Oh, that's how we do it. Like, wait a second, this is it's not so, it's only about ads. You feel handcuffed, it's only ads. I gotta have an ad budget. I gotta be a crazy huge influencer. None of that's true. I had no list. I had no money. I had no product. I had none of that when I started. What I did have was that I had been publishing a little bit, and I was like, something's coming, and that was it. And you realize that campaigns are just attention-based noise. I'm sorry, sales-based attention. Sorry.
Sales-based attention is what a campaign is.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Super, super insightful. All right. Well, I want to transition here to a company that we talked about, Pursuit of Profit, which is what you kind of launched as you left Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels world. And I do actually want to acknowledge you, though, the fact that you're able to be his lead funnel builder, learn all this, become a coach, which actually I want to drill into a little bit. But how he sings your praises from a public perspective, from a publishing perspective in his books and his content, just obviously goes to show like your character, his character. So I've listened to Traffic Secrets so many times. And every time I hear it, I'm like, you know what? That's awesome that he's able to kind of sing your praises, even though you guys have, kind of shifted gears.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. I cared deeply about that relationship. And yeah, I just told him when I needed to leave. First of all, it's cool of him. He's like, first off, I get it. You're an entrepreneur. I said, I know, but I want to work with you. And he goes, second of all, you're still the only entrepreneur to leave me that has never screwed me. And I was like, I feel like what they're doing over there is it's hallowed ground, they change a lot of lives. So thank you.
Totally. So before we transition to that, one of the things you talked about was like business systems and operations and all that. And actually how we connected, even though I've kind of known you from afar, is our mutual friend, Brian Underhill, who's an incredible dude, like literally love that guy so much. And we were talking offline. Now, I guess my newly appointed role at Fit Body Bootcamp, our franchise, being the CEO, and you obviously being the CEO of your organization. EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, has done game changer, like literally such a big shift in our business. And talking offline, it sounds like it's the same for you. So can you talk a little bit about your experience with it, maybe specifically EOS or just in general, talk about your business systems that, you talked about how important they are?
Yeah, I got a lot of opinion on this one because, when I was in college, man, it was like, hey, here's how you win. Go get a VC loan, use that to create your business systems, and then hopefully those business systems are good enough to create consistent marketing and sales. That's rough.
Yes.
It's way easier to go the other direction, where instead don't take on, and then you don't get golden handcuffs, right? Instead you say, why don't I just go figure out how something sells now and then use the profits to build the business structures, and then I don't owe anyone any money. It sounds way better to me, right?
Sign me up for that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So this part matters tremendously. So, and I call this the marketing and systems dance. So I left my job, right? I leave, and I was solo for the first 4 months. And so I was writing the webinar scripts, and I was pitching and then fulfilling and then shipping stuff and then redoing all the, getting the traffic back into the funnel for the next time. And like, it was a lot. So I called one of my buddies up from college, amazing guy, great friend. And I said, do you want to come help? And he said, sure. I said, what I need help with is business systems. And what happens is, and this is pretty standard, but it can be really uncomfortable if people don't expect it. It's that you build these marketing systems that are really strong, but they outpace your business systems. So your marketing is stronger than your business systems, fulfillment, customer service, shipping, all that kind of stuff. And you're like, crap, oh man, fulfillment quality is dropping. And that has happened. It happens in every company. All it means is, all right, just turn down that marketing system a little bit. We got to focus on upgrading fulfillment. And then what happens is the exact opposite. You build the systems, but they get a little fat, and they're a little more expensive than your sales can handle. So then what you do, you beef up your marketing, and it's this zigzag back and forth. We just went through that, where I can tell my marketing systems, it was too fat. So we did cut a little bit, but we're just turning on another few marketing things that will outpace our fulfillment soon, which is how it grows. And that happens a lot. The first time I ever learned this was actually when I was in college, and that was that first successful funnel, man. And dude, I was like begging for success. I was like, please, like I've been doing this for years. Like, come on, what is wrong with me? And I was a great entrepreneur, but a terrible marketer. Had no idea the difference. And I remember, dude, this guy, I built the funnel for him, and I was excited because a lot of sales came in. And he called me, the CEO, He's like, dude, there's a lot of sales, man. What's up? And I was like, yeah, I'm the bee's knees. So, woo! Like, it was really validating. I was like, what's up? Now, all coming in. Day number 2, CEO calls me again. This is all while I was in college still.
This is crazy.
And he goes, whoa, a little more hesitation in his voice. There's a lot of sales. And I'm still like, yeah, what's up, bee's knees? Oh, I'm like, yeah, cat's me out. Look at all these sales coming in. Right? And I was like, I told you it would work, The next day, he calls and he's like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. And I was like, who wants less sales? Click. And don't do that. If you're listening to this and watching this, I was so naive. I had no idea. And he just kept texting me. He's like, dude, you got to turn the funnel off. And I was like, I don't even freaking know how to do that. But well, what do you mean? I know less sales, you want sales like crazy. 2 weeks goes by. Dude calls me back, mega frustrated. And I don't know why yet. I can't figure out why he's so mad. I was like, you're selling like gangbusters. What's the issue here, And he goes, dude, turn off the funnel. And I said, who wants less sales? And I go to hang up. And he goes, you're going to bankrupt me. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Look at all the sales. And he goes, Steven, think about it. You are selling so fast that you're sucking all the cash out of my business. I don't have any money to pay my people because the cash is going to buy more product. You're going to bankrupt me. You're selling too fast. And it was the first time in my life I ever realized that a funnel is not a business. And that you have these revenue arms, but you got to have the support to fulfill. You got to have the fulfillment to support it, the business structure. And I was outpacing his business structure super hard. There were 2 other times that happened when I was with Russell. That was the first time on my own. I mean, most people don't have that problem, but that right there, that's a big deal. You got marketing systems and business systems, and there's a time for both, and it's not uncommon that they outpace each other. Just you kind of have to be aware of it.
Man, that's speaking my language at Get Fit Body Bootcamp. I feel like for a long time our marketing engine was flying, and then our systems had to catch up. And we've come a long way, and man, we're fighting all cylinders. But it is that balance, and EOS has done game changer for our business from the operational side, and it sounds like we share that similar sentiment.
It's a fun thing to do. Every time I consult a company, they usually come and bring their team, and then it's one of the first things I look for. I'm like, okay, they're asking for a funnel, but how's their fulfillment? Because I definitely outpaced fulfillment many times.
Speaking of consulting, which you do, what would you say, Steve, is your big zone of genius? And you tell me, like, at first, you're the quiet guy that didn't talk to adults and this, that, and the other. And now I don't think I've laughed so hard on a podcast. I hear this like charismatic guy. So you have a lot of skill sets, whether you know it or not. But what would you say, in your own words, is your zone of genius?
I'm very good at orchestrating attention. Very
Which
good
is
at it.
the essence of marketing.
I'm way better at that than I am funnel building. I'm not that amazing of a funnel builder anymore, just because I don't focus on it, because I realized how much it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't. I don't want to be quoted for that. Not that it doesn't matter. It's that it's very secondary to your ability to bring in attention. And if you can do that, you look at like Frank Kern's funnels. Dude, they're literally a white background with a video and a headline and a button. No design, literally that's it, nothing else. We looked at the top converting funnels at ClickFunnels. We pulled the top 100, and 90 of them were the most butt-ugly, nasty funnels you've seen in your life. Like, it has nothing to do with looking professional. It is all about your ability to gain and grab attention. And what I've gotten good at is creating formulas based on, like, rich dead dudes and using them inside of marketing plans directed at funnels. And that's really been what we've become good at.
Yeah, and from earlier conversation, orchestrating attention, that's the true essence of marketing.
Yeah.
Throw out some other old dudes that, you gave one example, but can you give our audience a few more?
Yeah. Claude Hopkins, that guy was awesome. I was a huge fan of Albert Lasker. He's actually the guy that invented orange juice to save Sunkist. That's a great one. I love that story. David Ogilvy is the reason Dove soap exists.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yes.
You know that movie when he's like, give me a word, I'll tell you how it's Greek. I feel that way with marketing. It's like, show me a product, I'll tell you why we eat it. It's all about marketing, or whatever. A lot of those dudes are the ones that popularized why we do most of what we do now.
That's awesome. All right, my friend, let's transition to the pursuit of profits and want to kind of dig down. And as I hit on your intro, I think it's the coolest thing ever is not only your lead funnel builder, ClickFunnels, working with Russell, who's like a mentor from afar from me. So I'm just so jacked up at that. But then you go off and do your own thing. And then you hit a 2 Comma Club within the infrastructure of ClickFunnels, but for your own business, which is game changing. So give us the rundown, story, tell a little bit. We just want to know a little bit more about what you're up to these days.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very proud of it, man. We've crossed 10 million now, and it's been 3.5 years. There was something I watched Russell do. It was one of the reasons why I was so honored to be in his books and I helped edit the trilogy a lot. And it was my .com secrets one is over there somewhere, but it was when we were shortly after I got hired. We were going through the outline of the first version of Expert Secrets, and I got to watch that process. And what I realized was how intensely he takes that process. And his process was it was like, hey, I'm going to go try a whole bunch of stuff with a framework of my own in mind, because I want to see if it's a law. And if it's a law, I want to write a book about it. And if it's not a law, I want to tweak it because there's something that needs to get created there. And it was that. So he's like, think about this. It's like, this is where I got this as well. What we would do is we would take out big poster boards and we would write down principles on the poster board, and then we lay them out on the floor. So you walk into his office and it's just this floor is loaded with these literally covered, like you can't barely see the carpet. And then what we did every time was we would just go back and forth, just side by side, conceptually editing the flow of what's on the floor. So then we just pick up a card and we'd move it and shift the rest of the cards down. Like, well, in order to know that, you really got to know this. We'd pick that card up. And that process is really what I got to see for the first Expert Secrets draft, and then help, go through and edit and go through a lot of that stuff. But I was like, I want to do that. And when I write a book, I want it to be that way. And .com Secrets came out like right at the same time ClickFunnels came out, and what it was his frameworks from the previous 10 years. And so I'm bringing this as a backstory so that you know like what I actually have been doing, because my conscious decision 6 months before I left ClickFunnels, I could tell I was going to, and I could tell I needed to, and Russell could as well, and he was super cool about it. And I decided, but I was like, if I leave, I want to do it testing a framework. And so that was why I also left so dramatically, because I was testing my own framework, and it worked, which is great. But I was like, what he really did though is once we got the framework on the floor with all the pieces of paper like nailed down, we're like, yeah, this is it. He would throw an event, and that would be the slides. And so what he was doing was he was testing the framework in front of a live audience, and mentally and even actually I'd be sitting on the side and we'd be taking notes on things we could tell that did not make sense to the audience. Well, then he would go back to all the papers on the floor, and we'd add in a few stories and tweak it around, and we would try it again, and he'd go back and do another event. I mean, that's why this book, Traffic Secrets, took so many times, because I remember the first night we went through and laid out all the cards. He did an event like a week later, and then it was another 1.5 years before he went back and did it all again, because stuff didn't make sense. And so what was interesting about this style of book writing was that it was very market, you got to listen to the market really well. And so I left with that purpose. And I was a head editor of Yearbook in high school, and I've always wanted to write books. And so Pursuit of Profit, the first 3.5 years has been an active, the reason I've done 14 events is because what have I been testing in all 14 of them, whether or not they know, has been my framework for finding an offer and launching it. And so those are the 2 separate books. So the Pursuit of Profit theme is shifting a little bit right now because I feel like I got it. And we launched 46 products in the last 3.5 years of my own products. There's so many products, man. You do not need that many to make a lot of money. I did it with a specific intent to test my framework. And now that I feel like we got it, we shut down 40 of those 46. And now I feel like what I'm trying to do is birth my book.
And speaking of your book is coming out, I don't know if it's launched yet, but it's called Core Offer.
Working title. Still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot
Really,
of advice from Russell a lot because that's hard.
really interesting. So you stripped down your 46 offers. Now you have a core 6. What are those offers that stood the test of time?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 of them that are like affiliate stuff. That's really cool, and they're meant to be lead gen, pulling leads out of funnel land towards my own list. The main one though is called Internet Launch Secrets, and it really is the course that is what the book will be. It was the event that I was like, got it. That was it right there. Look at all the success stories afterwards. Sweet, So that one's like the main core thing. We have a higher one.
Isn't that it? I saw some of the literature on it we were connecting with. Isn't that a 6-month intensive course?
That one's right? OfferLab.
Okay, forgive me.
OfferLab's much more intensive. There's live coaching involved with it. It's a customized launch plan too, so it's super fun. That's a fun. I've been doing that program for about 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. And then various events that we do. Those are really the core pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I see that you post a lot and has your backdrop is the capitalist pig. So kind of how does this all work in this framework? And by the way, like maybe it's because I'm a patriot for sure. And maybe this past year we're shooting this in mid 2021, but like just, after last year just reinforces like the value of capitalism, voluntary exchange for service. So I love your mission. I'm excited to kind of learn more about it, but I want to color in the audience for a little bit more detail.
Heck yes. Thank you for asking that question because I'm very passionate about this topic. Very passionate about it. I am so aggressive on this topic that I remember the first time, and I'll just tie it back this way too. Russell didn't come up with, I'm a funnel hacker. He didn't come up with that. He taught something and someone called themselves a funnel hacker. He was like, that'd be cool for a shirt. And that's how his tribe name was created. This is actually the same. I did not come up with the term capitalist pig. It's from a book called Animal Farm. And a lot of other famous books on different styles of economics. And I saw a shirt, it was gold, and it said Capitalist Pig on it, and I was like, oh, that's funny, I'll get one for Russell and I. It's when I was still working there. So I gave it to him, and I was like, this is hilarious, ha ha ha, wore it on a camera, and dude, everyone like pooped their pants. I was like, that's the one,
That's it. Catchy,
yeah,
so catchy.
Yeah.
And me specifically, but just speaks to me and speaks to people.
Yeah. Well, dude, here's the trick. Here's like the big thing. Okay, so I was trying to become an officer, which eventually I did, and so it was just imagine like quintessential Hollywood alpha males. All right, we're all sitting there like it's this whole semester where all we do is study wars, and so you just study battles, and it's so fun. Well, in order to study a battle, you really have to know a lot about culture and politics of both countries.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of, this is where this came from. At the end of this semester, this brilliant historian guy leans back and he says something. He's like, I've been doing this a long time. You guys did a great job. He said, it's really fascinating. There has never been a war that has ever started because of social issues. Wars have always started because of a violation of rights. And in my mind, I never knew there was a difference. And that little tic-tac stayed in my mind until fast forward a couple years later, I saw the capitalist picture and put it on and had that reaction. And I was like, this is a social issue, right? We're not really talking about rights. Capitalism is not a political stance. It is an economic system.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. And I started thinking more about this and I decided to, this is like the big trick. Like anyone who's on fitness, like think about what the social issue is that you stand for that is an existing argument. I was like, well, in my marketplace, entrepreneurship, the war between capitalism and socialism is very loud. And I, of course, did not create it, but I sure as heck am going to take a stand on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a stand on it. We put this thing on. And what's fascinating when you do that is you get a lot of sales off the back just by virtue of being noisy.
Yeah.
And leading the charge for your audience. We do a 3-day event on that concept alone, so it's a really big. But man, like if you want to throw gas on the fire while you're marketing, align yourself with a social issue. Just be careful when you do, because there's obviously backlash that happens.
Because that
inform and believe with it.
Because I feel like the essence that gets it ammunition and attention and whatnot is also the other force is like the hate and the frustration that you're always going to feel. Would that be fair to say?
Totally. You got to have a little thick skin with it. And that piece right there is usually what we spend half a day on with consulting. Because if you nail that down, it's like you can have C-level marketing and get A-level sales just by virtue of the amount of attention you're getting yourself. It's really interesting.
Now, forgive me, this is a passionate topic for me, so I just love where your head's at. I just love it to the core. I didn't fully understand, though, the difference between a social issue and the violation of rights. Can you maybe explain that just one more time? Yeah. Not only so our audience can hit it, but I can fully understand, because this is just speaking to me.
Yeah. So like, like rights, human rights, versus a social issue that someone had, like some social issue. COVID was obviously a social issue. It has no kind of violation of rights, but it's got it's a social issue. It's widespread. It's known. Like, think of it like this way. So there was when COVID started, someone, and I'm going to say some stuff here. I hope everyone's cool with it. All right, but someone was like, "Hey, should we talk about COVID in marketing? Because we want to be sensitive." And I was like, "Totally be sensitive. It's real. This, like, it's intense. It's real. The world is all eyes there. Be very, be very sensitive, obviously." But someone messaged me once and they said, "I can't wait till things go back to normal." They're not going back to normal. This is the normal, all right? It's like, it would take an equally large event to push it back the way that it was. But we're all educated now on how it can be, and so it is. And so it's this way, right? And so, but you think about the positive of what that actually means. The most expensive thing to change in this life is human habits, right? So if someone is not already in the habit of buying in a certain way, educating them on buying a new way is one of the most expensive endeavors ever. I learned that on Shark Tank, actually. And so what we look for is, what are the masses in my market already mass educated on and is taken as truth? And marketers totally deal in stereotypes, 100%. And so you're also asking about some of the stereotypes. Obviously, there's good and bad in all of these principles. You use them for good. These are real things, So what we do, though, is we look to see what social issues exist inside. Meaning, what are people fighting about that doesn't have to do with human rights, safety, taking care of people? Like, I'm not touching any of that stuff. I'm not touching politics. Like, I'll never take a stand. I'll never take any stance on that stuff, because I don't want my brand to be attached to a political stance.
Neither do I. So I know exactly what you mean by that.
It's like, there's definitely a line, and it's actually, I don't think it's fine either. I think it's a very fat line, and stay away from that. But when there's an existing argument and you truly believe about it, you can take it pretty far. We're I don't know if I've answered the question, but I'm kind of trying to lead the charge. Dude, I'm freaking nervous to do this, all right? Oh, man, we made a list of the top 100 socialism contributors and donors, and I'm going to send them capitalist kits just so I can publish about it. I can totally. The problem is, I'm like, man, someone's going to freaking assassinate me. Like, that's some hardcore stuff.
It can be, yeah.
Like, whew. But you see how far you want to take that.
Dude, man, well, if what I can do to help you, this resonates so much with me, and I'm fired up, man. So I just want to put that offer on the table.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. We'll definitely take you up. Yeah, we're going to do some large stuff. We're trying to get some celebrities involved with it. And anyway. Yeah.
Well, one last note in terms of, pursuit of profit and kind of your organization would just be, I know you have an event, I want to say this September, called Offer Launch. So we'd love to kind of color in the details and maybe, not only explain what it is, but offer some good takeaways to our audience.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, that is the hardest part. I love the funnel building customer and user. And I don't care what, there's so many funnel building softwares. The truth is, it does not matter. All right. Like, a musician makes the most out of tune piano still sound good. It has nothing to do, very little to do with the tool. And so I don't care what people are using. The problem is that there's too much weight given on the funnel, and people don't learn how to launch and how to get that attention and orchestrate it. So that's all the event is. It's a lot of cool, fun strategies that we've used. I bring in a lot of people. If you have money, sweet, here's some good ads ways. If you don't, sweet, here's some cool free ways. That's how most of us start, So thank you, appreciate that. It's September 8th through the 10th. It'll be our second time doing that particular event. So yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, totally. All right, Steve, man, this has been so awesome. I wish I had an infinite amount of time with you because, man, I'm dying over here and also just got so much value. But for the sake of time, I want to transition to the lightning round just to kind of allow you to fire off some last nuggets for the audience, if that works.
Deal.
And actually, this is not my normal kind of spiel, but being you're an expert in marketing, I'm just curious to pick your brain. Where do you see marketing going in the next 2 to 3 years?
I see that it's going to be easier and easier for those who actually understand what marketing is, because people are just going to keep thinking that it's about, what time you post something on Facebook. Not to say that doesn't help, but it's barely even the icing. Definitely not the cake.
The tactic versus the strategy.
Yeah,
right?
you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Actually, really, distribution's never been easier in this entire planet than right now. You know what I mean? How many people is this video going to reach? And it's like, it's pretty much free. I mean, think about what all these old school rich dead dudes had to do just to get 10 people to know about their thing. They had to go so I think those who actually understand that's going to be easier. And I think AI is going to play a really big, strong, role in it soon.
Next up, for our audience who are interested in fitness, business, entrepreneurship, certainly marketing has a lot to do with it. What would you say is one unique value bomb that the average business owner or entrepreneur should know about marketing, but probably doesn't?
Yeah. You are not paid to be an expert. You are paid to solve a problem. And thinking that you need to be an expert to sell is it's one of the cornerstones that keeps someone broke. I used to think the same. There's a lot of broke, brilliant people out there. It has nothing to do with being an expert. It has everything to do with knowing with ridiculous clarity the problem you solve and being able to explain it better than everybody else. And that right there, I love the book Play Bigger. It says that if you can describe the problem better than everyone, they assume you have the best solution. It's really interesting marketing. So
Play bigger?
Yeah, get really good at understanding what problem you solve. And it actually takes the pressure away as an entrepreneur that you have to be world class. Like, I'm getting ranked like I did in school. I have to have an A in order to get A revenue. It's not true at all.
Man, that's some gold right there, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks.
I got a few more. Passion. Certainly me in the fitness space, passionate people. I'm a passionate guy. I can tell that you are as well. What would you say is one big source of passion these days, and why?
Not to mince it, man. I just literally think it was why I was born. I have 3 beautiful little girls. That's certainly a source of my passion, but I mean, I could provide for them doing something else. For me, strongly believe in God. All right. Very strongly. Not a doubt in my mind there's been massive involvement. I know he's there because I'm not this smart. That's what I tell people. But I invite everyone to ask, why were you born now? And I believe that, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So there's this piece of me that if I start to get a little lazy, that I feel this searing, but loving, but searing eye from above going, "What you doing now, kid?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'll get going again."
Nice. All right. Thank you. Next up, before all the success that you've achieved today, looking back at your former younger self, what would you say was the one big thing that was holding you back, and ultimately how'd you overcome that?
Part of it was that whole expert versus solve a problem thing. I look back, dude, I went through 34 product tries over 5 years, man. And sane people get jobs after that. The tail end of that 34 was when I was working for Russell, and then went through 46 successes in a row. And the difference between those two right there, I think it really had to do with everything I've talked about here, where build a product that's really good, that over delivers, but also clearly understand that at some point you got to take off the entrepreneurship hat. We have this I don't know, we overly love the entrepreneur in our nation and society. And it's not to say it's not cool. It's just, it's not what makes money, and I didn't know that. So I had my 34 failures were good products. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that I did not ever put on the marketer hat. And that was the biggest mistake.
Wow. Profound here. All right, I got a few more for you. Habits are just so fundamental in success and business success and fitness success. What would you say is a habit or two that you've picked up along the way that's really significantly impacted you in a positive way?
Yeah. See, I'm laughing at this one because, I mean, Brian, right? He was like, Steven, you are one of the most hardcore visionaries ever that I've seen ever. And I was like, is that why I suck at routines? Dude, I'm so bad at routines. I have some business routines and that's about it. And the ones, because I don't always want to do this. Sometimes it is work, And so the routines that have kept me safe is I always have a 9 a.m. meeting every day. And it's so that I have a place that I need to be, that I'm ready to go. I don't trust my willpower. What was that book, Willpower Doesn't Work? Super good book, because it's like, look, after a while, willpower sucks. What actually changes human behavior is environment, not willpower. And so I've learned I trust me, but sometimes my willpower wants to just chill, dude. You know what I mean? And so instead, what I've had to do is consciously set up environments. Like when I'm in bed, I sleep. When I'm not doing anything else, I sleep. You know what I mean? When I sit down, I work. Because it's the environment and it matches it. I have a specific place for when I can kind of chill and relax and hang out and play and do nothing. And that's been one of the biggest tricks for me because someone was like, I don't have the motivation to have success. And I'm like, well, you're not broke enough then, first off, because the environment isn't sucking enough. You know what I mean? The flip side of that, though, is that when you start to solve that and you're like, crap, I'm not constantly looking for the next dollar. I'm losing my steam. That was weird for me. The way I've mostly solved it, obviously I'm not perfect at it, is just by intentionally creating environments where when I'm there, this is the activity that happens. Because otherwise I don't really trust that I'm always going to be doing what I'm supposed to.
Dude, that's so true. Environment is everything, and I always bring it back to fitness because that's what I'm so passionate about.
Heck
and
yeah.
At the end of the day, like, people can work out and do their own thing in theory, but that willpower doesn't get you there. And that group environment, when you're at the gym and you have guidance and coaching, it's the environment that works.
Totally, absolutely,
totally. All right. One thing that we touched on, but I guess I'm going to have another conversation we go long and deep at, is the coaching consulting, because I know that's a big aspect of who you are and the value that you provide. But being a coach and consultant, you give out incredible advice, for the people within your influence. What would you say has been one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever received, and why?
That's a good question, man. It's really hard to answer that. I'm a big believer that whoever you're getting coached from should also be getting coached themselves, otherwise they don't stay sharp. You know what I mean? So I'm blown away how many coaches Russell always has around him. Most people just don't know, and because he doesn't share. But seeing that and watching that, I was like, you got to coach for as soon as you wake up. You got to coach for what you put in your body, for food. You got to coach for supplements. I mean, I could not believe the coaches he had things for. And I'd never seen that. I'd say a piece of advice, though, from that lens that I feel like I've gotten would be, you know what? Actually, about 2 or 3 months in, no, it was when I started my podcast. It was about 4 months in. I interviewed this up-and-coming entrepreneur. Everyone knows him. And at the point, he had only done about 100 grand in sales, which is still obviously respectable. But, dude, I interviewed him on my own podcast. And Russell saw me seeing him. Does that make sense? He was looking at me, looking at him. And he started noticing that I was definitely comparing myself to him. And I was like, crap, man, I could do that. And it started bothering me. And I started comparing my timeline to his. And he slipped over to me this course called The Gap by Dan Sullivan. Yeah. He gave me a lot of courses when he could tell that I was sucking or something, We all suck eventually. It's all good. So just being honest about it, it was the first step. So he's like, hey, you should probably check this course out. So I started going through it. And in there, I learned, this is my own quip to remember the course. I don't remember all the pieces in there, but basically it's like stop comparing yourself, or it's the beginning of the end of entrepreneurship. And so I came up with a little quip, and I just tell myself a lot. Okay, I've had to do this even in the past 6 months, very frequently I'll remind myself, it's me against me and it's me against yesterday. That's it. That's it.
Amen.
Keeps your head down, keeps you away from looking at the clock, no comparing games. Me against me, and it's me against yesterday. And what the weird net effect of it is, 6 months goes by and you pop your head up and you're like, dang, look how much I got done. It's real cool. That changed my life.
Dude, man, that's profound. 100%. I also want to flip back and talk about we all suck. It's interesting at Fit Body. I literally hosted a new batch of owners to our brand and was talking to kind of high level. Our coaching profitability team just put together this 12-week onboarding, coaches plan to basically bring a new coach in our brand up to speed, because in our business, our team, our service is our product, right? And I kind of open up saying, we all suck. Like, coaches, when they first come, myself included, your job as the owner is to reduce the suckage time by pouring into your people. And so when you mentioned that we all suck, that's just so true. Literally top of my brain from last night's teaching. So
true.
Couldn't agree with you more. Steve, man, this has been awesome. I have one final question, really, and you've added so much value. I personally am going to rewatch the tape a few times over, and I know our audience feels the same way. But the last piece of parting wisdom, knowing that our audience are interested, again, fitness, business, entrepreneurship, trying to better their lot in life, being on a personal development path, what would you say would be your one last piece of parting wisdom that will better their lot in business and or in life?
Yeah, I would say to have ridiculous clarity on what it is they actually want, and then unapologetically just go for it. Because one of the reasons why it took me a while to have success also is I can tell that even when I wasn't working for anybody yet, I was still waiting for permission to have success. I didn't know that, but that's what was happening. And there was a moment where I actually realized it. And I was like, my gosh, I am waiting for other people to give me permission to get what I want. And a lot of that, because it was about sales and money and making, entrepreneurial and making it work, and it means I need cash flow. And I had to actually overcome a lot of money false beliefs, and that I had no idea were there. And I remember the first time someone was like, Steven, if you still think $1 million is a lot of money, you will not make $1 million. Like you're making this thing esoteric and out there and unreachable and this mythical thing, $1 million, right? And so I had to redefine my relationship with money. And I would say that would be really what it was about for me. First, redefine what it meant to make money. And there's all these weird things I'd overcome with that. And then stop asking for permission to have success and just be like, I'm not being given the opportunities I want to. I'm going to make myself world class. And that was what did it.
Oh, gold, my friend. This has been gold. So grateful for that. Before we wrap, where can our audience connect with you at?
I appreciate that a lot, actually. Funny enough, since we shut so much stuff down, there's only like a couple places. But the Capitalist Pig shirt is actually the best. Capitalismswag.com. We give them away for free. Just $10 for the shipping. So Capitalism Swag. Yeah. That's it, yeah.
Well, my friend, before we shoot, I just want to take a quick second to acknowledge you, to thank you for being on the show, but way more than this, and we were talking offline, I just want to thank you for being who you are. Your passion radiates. I love what you stand for, as we've kind of talked about today. And I think I told you this off the tape, but because of the work that you've done, Russell's done, Traffic Secrets, and your whole kind of ecosystem that you've created, that is the reason that end of last year, I pitched this podcast idea to Bedros, my co-host and mentor and whatnot. So without you and without the influence, both you, Russell, and the whole kind of work that you've done, this wouldn't be here. And you've helped a lot of people within our brand actually sign up to be Fit Body Bootcamp owners and just do a lot of good things. So I want to take a second just to acknowledge you for that, because I'm so grateful.
That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. And the feeling's mutual. I love the book. Man Up is such a good book. I listened to that while I was painting and drywalling my garage, and I realized, I'm not happy. And I had to go change a lot of stuff. So that was really, really cool. So I appreciate everything you guys do too.
Totally. Well, my friend, thank you so much. And audience, I know you got a ton of value, and just want to read it one more time. Assuming that you did, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube, and then write us an awesome review on iTunes. That would help us help you be able to continue to provide this content for free. So that's all for today. Steve, thanks again, my friend.
It's awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks, Bryce.